Well, hello everyone. Here we are, week 4, halfway point. Look at you go. I hope you're having a good week. I hope it started out nice. I hope you got a rested weekend. As I said in the announcements, I'm going to update the grades today, so they should be updated by the end of today, tomorrow. Everybody's doing great. Don't worry about anything. I don't want you guys stressed out. This week's assignment, and you're going to hear my little bird Popo is behind me. You know that I do rescues, and I had a sparrow that I rescued, and he lost his little foot the other day, so he's peg leg Popo now, and he likes to be close to me and just kind of chirp and know that I'm by right now, so you will hear him a little bit. Anyways, there's a couple things that I wanted to talk to you about. One is when you guys meet in your Google Hangouts on Wednesday. I don't want you going over 40 minutes max. That's max. With 15 minutes per group and then 5 minutes for them to ask questions. I don't want you guys going over that. If you get done earlier, that's fine. Okay? It's supposed to be about sharing ideas and just kind of collaborating and getting to be together, because in online classes, as you know, they're very isolatory and we don't get to do much face-to-face talking or collaboration like you do in a classroom. These sync sessions are new. We've just started doing this with the online curriculum, and I know how much you guys have going on. A lot of times people forget how much people have going on when they're doing a master's program. I know you're working. I know a lot of you are coaching. A lot of you have children. You're trying to do school too. So please don't stress about this. It's supposed to just be a way that you guys can collaborate and share ideas, not this big formal, thing. So please, 40 minutes max. That's max. Share your ideas, enjoy each other's company, ask some questions. Second group, do the same, and then off you go. You have the 2 DB questions and then 1 question related to the online activity that's not for points. It's just part of the thread on what you're liking about sync learning, what you're disliking about sync learning, what suggestions you might, offer to Concordia about adding sync learning, because it's always good to have input from everyone. I don't know if you guys have seen on the newsstand this week, but there's a really great Time Magazine special edition book on mindfulness. And if you get a chance to pick it up, I'm not saying you have to. I might share some things from it anyways with the class. But if you get a chance to read it, it just ties in so beautifully to what we're studying about brain-based research and about working memory and long-term memory. And I've been reading it with my students, and my high school students, I share the brain-based research with them as well, because they find it very interesting to learn about why they're doing what they're doing or why we're crafting lessons the way that we are. Dr. Sousa, of course, is always, the brain-based research book really is a fantastic textbook. It's very good writing. It's very interesting. And I think you're going to really like this week's assignments. I know that the e-lessons, the voice is like this when it talks, and that's a little strange, but the information is sound. So make sure that you're looking through that information, and it's very easy, set up in a way that is, easy to understand and process. But I think what you guys are really going to like is, not that you won't like the e-based lesson, but I think the TED Talk on how your working memory makes sense of the world, Dr. Peter Doolittle, is fantastic. He's such a great storyteller himself. He's very personable. He makes it fun to listen to and easy to be part of, and he does tricks to keep you focused and into his conversation, especially the memorizing of the words. So I think you guys will get a kick out of that. But the way when he's talking about working memory, it was funny. He talks about that, something that we talked about early in our lessons when he said, have you ever forgot where you parked your car? Have you ever forgot your keys? Have you ever forgot this? And then he goes, have you ever forgot your kids? And of course, I knew that you guys would remember about the time when I told you that I forgot my son and drove all the way to his to the pool without him in the car. It happens. That's our working memory can cut us off short. And the more multitasking we're trying to do, trying to remember all of these different things, the more we get forgetful in our working memory that it just shuts off. And then as we get older, one of the problems is that then we stress that, oh, am I getting Alzheimer's? Am I getting dementia? Is something wrong with my brain? And that, of course, makes it even worse. So I like that he talks about working memory. In the E lesson, there's a lot of things I could bring up, but the one thing that I want to bring up is memory related to emotional memory. Because we're finding this so important with students in our classroom, that when we create these negative triggers, when we create a classroom environment where they feel stressed or uncomfortable, learning does not take place in the same way as where somebody feels nurtured. And a lot of times in the past, teachers have been like, they think that a nurturing environment has to be this touchy, feel-goody, hippie-like place. And that's not the case. Some people may teach like that. I'm definitely a storyteller in my class. I've told you I always start my day telling them a story, a funny story, or a story about my life, or show them something about my animals, and it just gets them in the mood to be happy in my classroom. But that doesn't mean that I don't expect rigor or discipline or those things. It just means that emotionally, they know when they come to my room that they feel safe and that they feel comfortable. And that experience, that emotional experience of feeling, whew, instead of fight or flight, creates the difference in how they're going to hold on to their knowledge. Another thing that is wonderful about, I'm very fortunate, but we're seeing this now in districts all over with the collaboration and the Kagan strategies and this and that. But as I told you before, the academy that I'm involved in is RCTE, is Arts, Media, and Entertainment. So when it talks in the video about having kids creating their own knowledge attached to the curriculum, doing skits, music, these types of things, and how they remember it because there's an emotional response to it. I'm going to put up several of the arts-based projects that my students my graduate students now, but my students had done for my academy, these collaborative projects they did together. And I think you'll be shocked and pleasantly pleased at what they can accomplish and how much they can learn by doing these types of activities. And they really hold it and they remember it forever. So I think, out of all of the things that I want you to glean from that video, I really want you to focus on that emotional memory and how you are creating that space for your students in their environment where they do feel comfortable. And you have to remember the same thing that I have to remember with you. I remember that you guys are very busy and you have a lot of things going on in your life that add your stress. You're also, some of you, learning a lot of these things for the first time. You know as well as I do that when that happens, that becomes stressful in itself. And we have to remember this with our students. We've been teaching a lot of this information for many, many years, and it's just, we just pop, 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 and, why aren't you getting it type of thing. They're learning it for the first time. They are stressed. You have to remember that kids, they don't like to be embarrassed in front of other children, and that's all ages. And that they have all of these emotions, going on. And of course, we're trying to draw them out of their shell, but there's that fine line between bringing them in and making them feel, this is too much for me. So, we need to think about that with our brain-based research. And then, of course, pulling back to what we talked about earlier, but we're talking about, again, the global thinker and the logical thinker. How are you going to combine the two hemispheres so that you have the people, so that it's a whole learning instead of segmented? You have your informational processing model assignment. It's 25 points. All the directions in the rubric are there. There are examples. It should not be difficult at all, just very straightforward. So remember that that's due by Sunday midnight. And if you have any questions for me or you need me, please feel free to email me or contact me. I'm always here for you. You guys have been a great group so far. I feel like you're just moving along. And I want you to have a good work week. And I will talk to you soon. And take care. Oh, there's the dog. Good time for me to go.